If you'd told me 2 weeks ago that I'd be spending a Friday night crawling through a busted window into an old crumbling factory, I'd have laughed. But there I was last Friday, feeling like I'd been dared by my own dumb curiosity to finally face down the rumors that hung around Haven Mills. Growing up, I'd heard all about the place, an old textile mill on the edge of town that had been shut down decades ago, sitting there ever since like a forgotten dark corner. The stories around town kept it alive, though. They said it was cursed, that workers had died there, that sometimes, at night, you could hear sounds coming from inside. A bunch of nonsense, right? At least that's what I'd been telling myself. But it was Dylan, my best friend since middle school, who finally got me to say yes. "Come on, Eric," he'd said, nudging me with that half smirk he wore whenever he was up to something. "Prove you're not a chicken. We'll be in and out, 5 minutes tops. Just snap a few photos, and we're good." He gave me that look, the one that said, "Don't you dare back out." So I agreed, half to shut him up and half to prove to myself that there was nothing to worry about. I mean, how bad could it be? Just an empty building, right? Dylan dropped me off a little after sunset, just when the factory's shadow stretched long over the ground. He stayed in the car, waiting for me. All I had to do was go inside, take a couple of photos, and come back out. Easy. As I stepped closer, I noticed how huge the building looked in the fading light. It felt heavy, like it held onto its secrets. I could see cracks running up the walls, vines creeping around broken windows, a darkness spilling out that seemed thicker than the night itself. Taking a deep breath, I pushed open a broken side door, the rusted hinges screeching loud enough to echo around the yard. I stepped inside, pulling out my phone for light. The air was stale, thick with dust that hung in the beam of my flashlight. Just 5 minutes, I told myself. I can handle 5 minutes. Inside, the place looked like it had been abandoned mid-shift. Machines were scattered around, with random tools lying where they'd been dropped. Pieces of paper and old newspapers littered the floor, crumpled and smeared with who knows what. My footsteps felt loud, almost intruding in the silence that blanketed everything. I snapped a couple of pictures, trying to capture the empty expanse of the room. Then I heard it, a low creak coming from deeper inside. My heart skipped a beat, but I forced myself to think rationally. Buildings settle, old pipes shift. I swallowed, pushing down the anxiety building in my chest. I moved further in, my footsteps muffled by dust and debris. That's when I spotted a door at the far end of the room, slightly ajar, leading to what looked like a narrow hallway. Now, Dylan had told me to stick to the main room, but curiosity got the better of me. I knew he'd give me hell if I came back out too soon, so I figured, what's the harm? I stepped through the doorway, instantly hit by a colder draft that seemed to seep out of the narrow, dim hallway. I moved forward, feeling each step sink a little in the grimy floor. My phone's flashlight barely lit up the space, casting more shadows than light. The air felt wrong, stale, like it hadn't been touched in years. And then, there was that sound again, a metallic clink somewhere up ahead. A small, rational voice in my head insisted it was probably just a loose pipe or scrap metal, but a larger, more primal part of me felt something off. "Hello?" I called out, half hoping there wouldn't be an answer. The word echoed back, stretching down the hallway in a way that made me regret saying anything at all. I pushed on, feeling my heartbeat thudding in my chest. My phone vibrated in my hand, and I glanced down to see a text from Dylan. "You chickening out already?" I smirked, trying to shake off the nerves. I typed back, just taking a look around. I pocketed my phone and kept moving, the silence swallowing my footsteps. I reached another room at the end of the hall. The windows here were shattered, casting a dim, silvery light that revealed overturned chairs, an old filing cabinet, and a pile of newspapers fanned out across the floor. I stepped closer, squinting at the yellowed, brittle paper. The headline on one of them caught my eye. "Worker trapped in machinery at Haven Mills." A chill ran down my spine. The rumors I'd heard as a kid flickered back to life in my mind. Lori Benson, the woman who supposedly died here, working late one night. The story said she'd been alone, doing overtime, when one of the machines jammed. She tried to fix it, and, well, things went wrong. They said her scream could be heard all the way to the next block. I turned, feeling like I'd overstayed my welcome. But as I took a step towards the door, I heard another sound, a soft, steady tapping, like metal on wood. It came from the far corner of the room, shrouded in darkness my flashlight couldn't quite reach. My hands felt clammy, my breath quickening. I took a step back, nearly tripping over an overturned chair. Another text buzzed on my phone. I pulled it out with shaking hands, glancing down, expecting Dylan's name, but it wasn't him. The message was from an unknown number. I clicked it open, squinting at the screen. "Leaving so soon, Eric?" My heart stopped. I spun around, shining my flashlight at every corner of the room, but there was no one. Just shadows, broken furniture, and that same musty smell. I typed a quick reply, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hit the right letters. "Who is this?" The reply came instantly. "Don't you remember? You asked for me." Every instinct screamed at me to run, but my feet wouldn't move. I kept staring at the message, trying to make sense of it. My flashlight flickered, casting a strange glow across the room, distorting shadows into shapes that twisted and stretched. I took a step backward, ready to bolt, when something moved out of the corner of my eye. A figure standing in the doorway, just standing there, watching. "Eric?" It was a soft, female voice, almost too faint to hear. I couldn't see her face, just the outline of her body, half turned towards me. Every nerve in my body told me to move, but I was frozen, trapped in place by a cold dread. The figure tilted its head, taking a slow step toward me. I bolted, stumbling over the chair, my heart racing as I scrambled back down the hallway. My breath came in quick, panicked gasps as I made it back to the main room, not daring to look back. The door was just ahead. I pushed it open, diving outside into the crisp night air. Dylan was leaning against his car, laughing when he saw me. "Dude, you look like you've seen a ghost," he teased, but his smile faded when he saw the look on my face. I didn't say a word, just got into the car, slamming the door. As we pulled away, I felt my phone buzz again, another message from that unknown number. "Come back anytime, Eric." My hands were shaking as I deleted the messages, hoping that would be the end of it. But even now, as I lie awake some nights, I still hear that faint tapping sound, like something just beyond the darkness is waiting, biding its time.